Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to join the Patreon to vote in the poll for the next anime character, and like and subscribe to reach Okeanos next time you play. Maybe. Hey everyone, quick Patreon update. We hit the goal. We're making character sheets now. So if you want to get character sheets, pop on over to the Patreon, click the link in the top right corner, and you can get character sheets for $5 a month. We're making 6 sheets per week, and it's sheets for level 1 to 20 on each character. So it's more like 120 sheets per week. Also, starting a new goal to hire an editor so I can start working on a live play series for everyone and have someone else edit these videos, or have them edit that. Not really sure which. But if you want to see that or you want sheets, go over to the Patreon. Either way. Today we're building Iskandar, the rider from Fate Zero, the reincarnation of Alexander the Great, given superpowers and brought into modern times to fight for the Holy Grail. Fate is a pretty weird series, but this build should be pretty straightforward. I just have to figure out how to create a pocket dimension and stock it full of an army that'll fight on our behalf. Why did I put this on the poll? This is gonna be impossible.
You are my king, sire.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, Ione Hetairoi, manifesting all those we've conquered to come to our aid and destroy our foes. Pretty complicated, and we'll actually be making an archetype of a build that we've never really done before, so that's exciting. Next, we need to be an inspiration. It's a king's duty to live a life worthy of aspiring to. Finally, we'll get a horse. You are the rider class, after all. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your charisma and strength high. Charisma will be number 1. Conquerors tend to be charismatic, so do kings, and you're the king of conquerors. That's charisma squared, baby. Strength next, you can try and hide out in a t-shirt, but you're just gonna look like an overstuffed sausage. Constitution after that, you're pretty great at drinking, except for that one time, but we're not counting that. Follow that up with intelligence, you're a master strategist, and you're gonna need the big brain if you're gonna beat Civ on deity setting. Dexterity is a bit low. It's important to stay on your mount, but those saves don't come up all that often, so I'm not too worried about it. Wisdom is gonna be the dump stat. Impulse control isn't an issue if you always win no matter what. For race, Iskandar is based on a historical person, and all the people who have been alive are humans. Centaur Iskandar could pull his own chariot. I don't know what the point of that would be. I guess maybe you could have some good wine and your buddy waver in the carriage. Whatever, variant humans get a feat. The Inspiring Leader feat gives up to 6 friendly creatures temporary HP equal to your charisma modifier plus your level. Bump the aforementioned charisma and your constitution with your 2 free points. Take history for your skill of choice and modify the soldier background for animal handling and intimidation, as well as the ground vehicle proficiency, which a chariot would be. Don't worry, we will be getting athletics, we can just get it from our starting class. Starting class, of course, being Paladin, letting you pick up 2 skills from the Paladin list. Athletics and Persuasion are necessary if you're going to command the army from the front lines. Divine Sense lets you sense any celestials, fiends, or undead within 60 feet of you, an amount of times per day equal to your charisma modifier. I think the servants are all technically undead. Revenant abilities wouldn't really fit for you, but in terms of what it represents non-mechanically, it would be accurate. You can also lay on hands, giving you a pool of healing equal to 5 times your paladin level you can distribute as an action. Give it to yourself or one of the many people in your army. I still don't totally know how I'm going to do that. We'll figure it out together. Second level paladins get a fighting style. Since you don't keep it consistent between one-handing or two-handing your sword, let's just get beefier with the defense style, giving you +1 AC while you're wearing armor, so you'll be harder to run through. You can also cast some paladin spells. Heroism makes a creature immune to fear and gives them temporary HP equal to your charisma modifier at the start of each of their turns. Keep in mind, temporary HP does not stack, so if they've got some from your Inspiring Leader bonus, they won't be getting any extra. But by the end of this build, you're gonna have way more than 6 friends, no spoilers. Other than the intro thing, sorry about that. Divine Favor adds a d4 of radiant damage to your weapon attacks for a minute, depending on your concentration. The Sword of Crupotes has a little magical oomph to it. If you want to add even more magical oomph, Divine Smites use spell slots and add 2d8 radiant damage to a weapon attack and an extra d8 against fiends or undead, and another d8 for every spell slot you're using above the first level, with a maximum of 5d8. Again, I think servants count as undead, so this should be pretty good against them. Third level paladins get Divine Health, making you immune to disease. Probably still going to be topical when this video airs. Wash your hands, please. You can also swear a sacred oath, and the Oath of Conquest works pretty great for a dude who vowed to conquer everything until the edge of the earth. You can channel divinity once per short rest, letting you use one of 2 abilities. Conquering Presence forces a wisdom saving throw on creatures within 30 feet of you of your choice, frightening them if they fail for a minute or until they pass a saving throw on their turn. Lesser Kings really should just be bowing. You can also use it for a guided strike, adding 10 to one attack roll when you really truly absolutely need to hit. 4th level Paladins get an ability score improvement. Strength is going to be more important early on, so let's get it even with our charisma modifier to swing that sword hard and wear any armor we want. 5th level Paladins get an extra attack, letting you attack twice instead of once with your action. You're pretty good at swinging your sword quickly for a dude of your size. You can also learn 2nd level Paladin spells, and what if our rider could ride? Find Steed lets you summon a magical spectral warhorse, pony, camel, elk, or mastiff. Keep in mind, it needs to be large for you to mount it, so the mastiff might not be the best option. Any spells you cast on yourself are cast on the steed as well. It doesn't require concentration and lasts until the steed runs out of HP. You can communicate with it telepathically. Basically, you're just role-playing as the steed and you get to metagame if you want. 6th level Paladins get an aura of protection, letting allies within 10 feet of you add your charisma modifier to their saving throws. That's a 30 square foot area, so on a standard 5x5 map, up to 6 creatures could get this bonus, including you and Waver. Though maybe you should just drop him off somewhere safe and give it to your soldiers. Speaking of, how the hell do you get an army of loyal soldiers in D&D? You can't with Paladin. We're gonna bounce over to Sorcerer, specifically a Divine Soul Sorcerer, because I want cleric spells. Actually, I pretty much only want to use cleric spells with like 2 exceptions, so why not just roll up a cleric? We'll get into that later. At the 1st level, Divine Soul Sorcerers are favored by the gods, letting you add 2d4 to a failed saving throw or attack roll once per long rest. Considering you could use Guided Strike and you get to add your Charisma mod to every saving throw, this should make you incredibly consistent. For your cantrips, Guidance lets a creature add a d4 to an ability check as you give them a little kingly inspiration. Thaumaturgy lets you do a bunch of little magical things, but the main one I want to focus on is making your voice 3 times louder for a minute, letting you command the whole army. For your 1st level spells, Bless gives up to 3 creatures a d4 to add to attack rolls and saving throws for up to a minute, depending on your concentration, to really rally the troops. Shield of Faith adds 2 to the AC of a creature of your choice for up to 10 minutes, depending on your concentration, to either make yourself more of a beast or protect your squishy summoner. His last name is literally Velvet. That is how soft he is. We're mixing spellcasters here, so check out page 165 of the player's handbook to figure out how many slots you have at any given level. We're gonna need all the slots we can get. 2nd level sorcerers get a font of magic with sorcery points they can use to recover spell slots, and you can convert spell slots into sorcery points as well. This will become more important towards the higher levels, but for now, just scoop up detect magic to sense magical auras and what type of magic is causing them, which might be useful if there was like an evil sorcerer that was running around with a serial killer. Seems kind of specific, but you could probably use it for other stuff too. 3rd level sorcerers get meta magic, giving you some options to augment your spells with sorcery points. I think this is the first time I've made a build where recovering spell slots is my ideal use of sorcery points rather than meta magic, but that won't kick in until later. So grab extended spell to double a spell's duration and subtle spell to cast a spell without material components, I guess. Again, not really important for you. You can also learn 2nd level spells. 8 increases the HP of 3 creatures by 5 for 8 hours. And this isn't temporary HP, it's just like extra HP, if that makes sense. You're gonna have a whole army. This will make them better because they'll be less breakable. 4th level sorcerers get an ability score improvement. Keep it up with your strength. Your charisma is currently being used for like 1 spell. It will eventually help your inspiring leader bonuses, but we don't need those right away. For this level spell, grab shield from the 1st level for +5 AC as a reaction. Keep yourself safe. If you died, I'm gonna stop watching. Well, I'll maybe watch like 2 more episodes. 5th level sorcerers can learn 3rd level spells. Fly will work as a way to make your chariot fly, giving a creature you touch a flying speed of 60 feet per round. Keep in mind, if you have a steed and cast this on yourself, the steed can fly too. No stress if you accidentally fall off, you still have a flying speed, as long as you keep your concentration up for the 10-minute duration. We'll get to start off our army at the 6th level of sorcerer with the Animate Dead spell. That's right, it's a necromancer, and the 11th level is kind of a late place to start that, but hey, noble phantasms are pretty high level stuff, and I wanted Ryder to ride first. Animate Dead lets you turn a pile of bones or a corpse of a creature you've conquered into a skeleton or a zombie that you command with a bonus action for 24 hours. You can cast this spell again before the time is up to keep a soldier under your control, and can maintain up to 4 with the 3rd level version of the spell, and 2 more with every higher level slot. So, here's how you build your army. Since the spell is in concentration, every day conquer someone new and cast the spell at 3rd level, then cast it again to maintain them the next day, while using another slot to conquer another person. At this level, you can cap out at 42 soldiers with your 5th level slot, 3 4th level slots, a 4th level slot from your Font of Magic, and 3 3rd level slots. The font of magic is why we went with Divine Soul instead of something like War Cleric, which makes the Holy Solely one of the better options for necromancers, as it will eventually be able to have a bigger army than even a necromancy wizard. By the way, we didn't go necromancer since I wanted the rest of these cleric spells, which aren't on the wizard list. 7th level sorcerers can learn 4th level spells. Freedom of movement makes a target immune to effects that would lower their speed, paralyze them, or restrain them for an hour. No concentration required. You and your chariot are unstoppable once you get going, though honestly, I just use the slots for a bigger army. 8th level sorcerers get another ability score improvement. I think it's about time we invested in that charisma modifier. I want it capped before the end of this build, so if we don't start strategizing for that now, you won't be ready when the time comes. For this level spell, Spirit Guardian summons a bunch of tiny angel soldiers for you in a 15-foot radius that mess up people you don't like. They have the speed of unfriendly creatures in the area and force a wisdom saving throw on them, dealing 3d8 radiant damage to those that fail, or 3d8 if you're evil. This is one of the few times where alignment actually matters in 5e. The Fate wiki has Iskandar listed as neutral good, but I think lawful neutral to true neutral would be more fitting. Self-gratification and indulgence are a big part of your philosophy. Remember, just because your character is nice doesn't make them good, and just because they like to party doesn't make them chaotic. 9th level sorcerers can learn 5th level spells. Legend lore will help you with your strategies, giving you information about a person, place, or object of legendary renown. The more you already know about it, the more information you're gonna get, so it's pretty useful to have the history skill. As always, DMs, don't be skimpy about the info you give out here. The spell cost Iskandar 8 potential soldiers. Actually, if you wanted to flavor it as 8 soldiers dying on a scouting mission, I think that would be pretty cool. 10th level sorcerers get another meta magic option, but use all of your sorcery points for more slots. Quicken spell makes a spell that takes an action only take a bonus action, I guess. Soldiers are more important though. For this level spell, Holy Weapon makes a weapon magical, adding 2d8 radiant damage to its hits. It shines a bright light, and you can dismiss that light to deal 4d8 radiant damage and blind creatures that fail a constitution saving throw in a 30-foot radius. If you don't dismiss it early for that boom, it lasts for an hour, depending on your concentration. Or, and hear me out, more soldiers. 11th level sorcerers can learn 6th level spells. Create Undead is like Animate Dead, but for a smaller number of stronger soldiers, creating 3 ghouls with the standard 6th level slot, 4 with a 7th level slot, 5 ghouls, 2 ghasts, or 2 wights with an 8th level slot, or 6 ghouls, 3 ghasts, 3 wights, or 2 mummies with a 9th level slot, which we don't currently have, but we will before all of this is over, don't worry. Controlling an army is all about proper delegation. It couldn't hurt to get a couple of generals in the squad. 12th level sorcerers will get an ability score improvement so we can cap off our charisma. This is going to pay off next level. Do you really want to walk around town with 50 shambling corpses? We need storage space. 13th level sorcerers can learn 7th level spells. Plane shift brings you and up to 8 willing creatures to another plane of your choice. Hopefully you know a virtually empty demi-plane, or you could just conquer the denizens of some lesser plane to make your own little army Pokeball. You can also make a melee spell attack against a creature who then gets to make a charisma saving throw. Failing that, they are sent to a plane of your choosing. At a random point in the plane, unfortunately. But you're going to have an army of over 70 soldiers waiting for them, so you're probably going to find them pretty quick. So, to store your army in another plane, here's what you need to do. Plane shift with your first 7th level slot, bringing 8 of your army with you. Then, bamf back with an 8th level spell, take your 8-hour long rest, and bamf back, reset your control undead, and repeat over and over, just making sure that you have enough slots of 7th level or higher to get in and out. Also, maybe take your long rest in the plane you conquered if there's trouble on the main plane. Just a thought. Our capstone is the 14th level of Divine Soul Sorcerer for Angelic Form, which will give you a flying speed of 30 feet. Unfortunately, this doesn't apply to a mount, but we're really just here for a 9th level spell to get an obscene amount of soldiers. Really quickly, I want to point out, I frequently get comments saying, your builds shouldn't go to level 20, no campaign ever goes that far. But I don't make these builds assuming you're going to get to level 20. I have no idea what level you're going to hit. The reason these builds go to level 20 is in case someone wants to run a 20th level one-shot, or by some miracle of modern science, your campaign actually does make it to the 20th level, so I always try to prioritize the most important things to the character and get them done as quickly as possible. Iskandar is one of very few builds I actually think needs to hit level 19 to feel accurate, but that makes sense. The dude has a pocket dimension storing every army from Greece to Pakistan. That's pretty strong. So now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. With 16 soldiers from a 9th level spell slot, spending your 7th and 8th for the plane shifting, 10 soldiers from the 6th level spell slot, 8 soldiers from each 5th level slot, and 5 of those with every one of your possible sorcery points for 40 soldiers from 5th level slots, 18 soldiers from your 3 4th level slots, and 12 skeletons from your 3rd level slots, you can have 96 skeletons waiting for the next person to justify using your Noble Phantasm. That's a lot of skeletons. You're also going to be pretty tricky to hurt with 19 AC and fantastic saving throws, with Aura Protection making your lowest saving throw a +4. Finally, you're a great leader, with ways to give your allies extra HP and Aura of Protection, making them good at saves as well. For weaknesses, you've invested the bulk of your build into casting, but don't actually have many options for magical damage, with your army requiring a lot of maintenance from your slots. Sorcerer hit die also make your HP kind of low by the end of this, somewhere around 125. Finally, skeletons are not good. An AoE spell would absolutely devastate your army, wasting all of the spell slots you used to summon them. But seriously, what are the odds of one of the other servants having like Meteor Swarm? As long as you're not fighting someone who can summon giant arrows from another dimension, you should be able to conquer anyone and come out on top. Just keep in mind you're committing to one style of battle for this build, and you shouldn't do that unless you are sure you want to. Otherwise, you can waver goodbye to your chances of winning. You might die. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 builds every week. Join the Patreon if you want to vote in the poll. This week we've got Inuyasha, Ichigo from Bleach, or Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho. And as always, sub to Tulak and Mango, it's a very good time.